Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Real Hawk Talk. I am Brian Nemhauser. You can find everything that we do on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Hawk Blogger. And if you like the audio version, you can get that at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your audio pods, you can get it there. We'll always appreciate a 5-star review. If you take the time to leave one, that's always appreciated. And if you want ad-free audio, patreon.com/hawkblogger is where you get it. Not to mention, you get access to the Discord server, and each and every week that we do the show, which happens to be this week, we will answer your questions. So we've got some questions in there in the Discord server we'll get to a little bit later. And boys, I got to tell you, daylight savings time has really messed with my sleep patterns. I know, you guys don't know how to deal with this stuff, but man, it's messed me up. And I'm going to be all over the place today. Like, there's so many things to talk about. So if there's something obvious I'm forgetting, don't assume I'm getting there. Make sure you bring it up. How you doing, Jeff Simmons, up there in Toronto?
So it's weird. I've had the worst week of sleep I've had. Feels like in months. What's been going on with you? Are you just staying up really late, or is it going to bed early and waking up?
I get into bed and I'm like wide awake.
I'm the same way. I couldn't sleep till like 4 last night, and it was brutal. Well, I drank
4 a.m. like 4 a.m.
Yeah, like I drank a couple energy drinks. I had some work to do, and it was a big mistake. I had have you ever had those Celsius drinks?
Yes. Okay. Hold up. What time do you stop drinking caffeine at? This is blowing my mind.
Normally very early, but last night I had one at like 7 p.m. and it was a disaster.
Oh, dude,
brother!
It was a disaster. Podcast with one of the Field Gulls guys, and like I felt like I was hopped on energy drinks. It was bad.
Jeff, we're too old for this, brother.
I'm like 10 years older than you. That's not.
I'm too old for that. That's insane.
Yeah, but I don't know. But all week, like I think since the daylight savings time, my sleep patterns have been really bad. I don't know what's going on.
Wait, so Brian, did you gain an hour? Did you lose an hour? I forget what happened.
So spring forward. So our clocks go forward an hour. So when I get into bed, it feels, I guess like it feels an hour earlier, I guess is how it feels. So like if you normally are going to bed at like 9 for a super early old people, I've always been, it's not an old thing. I've always been an early to bed guy, but it's like getting into bed at 8 or something, I can't quite go to sleep that early. So
I'll just say this. I'm locked in. I am so locked in on that 8:45 p.m. bedtime on a Monday through Thursday night. I am. If you guys ever see a text from me, like 8:30, 8:45, my eyes are barely open. I'm halfway deep into an edible and I'm sinking into the couch. Like that is the routine Monday through Thursday on a school night.
You got life figured out, man. That's good stuff.
I will say I take a lot of pride in generally being like substance clear for my day to day. And I don't judge anyone that's not substance clear, but for sleep, like I've taken a few things now and then to help sleep. And now it's like this, oh my God, can I white knuckle it without taking something to help me sleep? Like I don't want to get.
You feel like you're almost dependent on something to sleep is what
you're saying?
Yeah,
like, I don't like that. I don't like that. I want to just, just before daylight savings time, I was in a zone, man. I was sleeping so well. This is exactly what everyone tuned in to hear about, by the way.
Can I just tell you guys something real quick, actually, since we're just catching up as friends? So I started watching Night of the Seven Kingdoms, right?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, what do you think? What do you think? It's slow to start.
I disagree. Like, I actually think it's really funny. Like it's cheeky type humor. It's almost, I feel like, guy humor a little bit more. Like, my girlfriend's been watching the show with me and she's not so much into it, although she enjoyed, House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones. But there's just been some funny moments on the show so far. And like, I was like halfway deep into a light edible the other night when watching this show. And the Knights, I don't want to spoil anything, but the Knights, like former mentor knight, whatever, came out of the shack and he was taking a loo outside. And I felt like I was visualizing things that, or like hallucinating things from that show that like were not happening, because if you've seen that show, that was like a kind of a shocking moment. So I don't know where I'm going with this, but like that show's good so far, guys. Like I'm about it.
I think the last 2 or 3 episodes of that show really pay it off. I love I think I'm a big fan of storytelling in general, and I watch a lot of crappy TV. I'll admit it. Like Rachel and I are constantly searching for something we can tolerate, like just put up with.
Yeah.
And that's one show that I thought really stood out. But the other one, I will say, the current season of Paradise.
Never heard of it.
Is a freaking like work of art.
Paradise.
Every single episode of this season of Paradise could have been its own movie, could have been its own show. Like it is really, really good. Like it's way better than the first season, which was also pretty good. But the second season, taken off, man. It's really good.
What platform is this?
Hulu.
Okay.
Hulu. It's about like an apocalyptic event that and people go into like a bunker that they've been planning for years, and like it's a whole society underground, but there ends up being people that still, I won't give too much away, but anyway, yeah, like the storyline honestly is like okay, but the acting and the way they tell it has been so good.
Brother, you just have to say apocalypse and like I'm automatically watching that show. Perfect.
Yes, I see someone in chat saying you got to watch Landman. I've already finished Landman. I'm like done with Landman. I started watching the new U.S. Marshals show with Cody from Yellowstone. Like I'm already there. What were you gonna say, Jeff?
Did you like Landman?
I did. I loved Landman.
Yeah, it's good. We've started watching it, and because I have a 1-year-old at home, I keep falling asleep. Like before I was just falling asleep everywhere on the couch without the edibles. And Brian, you saw me in Indianapolis. I was sleeping like an animal there. And so we got to get to it, but like I'm so tired by the end of the days right now. It's so hard.
Yeah. I hear you. Well, yeah, Landman. They certainly did their work on getting the male audience tuned into that show.
I don't know what that means, but I think I know what it means, so I'll tune in.
There's a lot. So Rachel's sister, Lauren, who I love, amazing, and she is a huge Landman fan. And so she and I have this connection where we talk about that show, and I'm like, why do you like it? Like, I know why my guy friends like it, but the guys in that show are not good looking. And she's like, oh, it's just so good, and the characters. And I'm like, yeah, well, that too. But
you're not a Billy Bob Thornton guy?
No, although he's done pretty well for himself. Like he's
a great actor.
No, I'm talking about like Angelina Jolie or like, does he have some kind of crazy history of who he's been dating and married to? I don't know. I don't know.
Angelina Jolie was my like #1 crush growing up as a kid, man.
Well, I got news for you. Did you hear? I heard this from someone in my circle that Alexandra Daddario is single.
Who?
Oh, Evan, come on, dude.
I literally don't even know who that. Wait, hold up. I might know the face.
Come on, go search. I'm gonna watch your face as you search.
She was the White Lotus.
True Detective girl.
Yes.
True Detective girl. Okay.
Yes, back in the day.
Buddy, you just had to say True Detective season 1.
No, I'm not going to implicate myself like that. I'll let you.
That's all you had to say. Oh my gosh.
We are getting canceled tonight for sure.
Oh my God.
I love her acting skills. She's an amazing actor.
She is great. She is great.
Wonderful.
She's also beautiful. So, boys, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. Like, I mean, we're gonna get to football and Seahawks here now, but I had one other thing that's not specifically football related that happened. I'm literally wearing my workout gear that I put on at like 8 this morning because it has just been a day. I've not been able to find. I'm gonna work out after this. But I was just about to work out and I get an email from a Seahawks fan who happens to work for the New York Times. And he's like, brother, dude, you're a New York Times bestselling author. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, and he sent this like image, which by the way, I completely blew. Like, I was so excited when I saw this. I didn't realize the image had a watermark that says not for publication or redistribution. And I immediately posted it on Twitter. oh my God, am I going to get you in trouble? I'm so sorry. I honestly didn't notice. But it's number 5, this book right here. We Did Not Care. Number 5 on the New York Times paperback nonfiction, New York Times bestseller. That's crazy. And this is the best part, besides the fact that that's just cool. He told me that he's a huge Seahawks fan. He watches the show, and he's like, the best part was a 49ers fan had to stand up and announce it. Come on. How golden is that?
Where's my signed copy?
10 minutes to get to that.
Yes. Your signed copy will be coming with some confetti, by the way. I'm going to be bringing confetti with me.
God,
I've got that in tow for you when I come to Phoenix in a few weeks for the league meeting.
Thank you. I completely forgot about that confetti request that I had.
No, so I've got a bag of confetti for the people I gathered it for, and you are one of those people.
Did it dry out? Because I know you said it was like wet or something, right?
Yeah, I went through a whole process to dry out the confetti. It's dry. I gave some to Jeff. I gave some to Dana. I will give some to you as well. So
awesome. What'd you do with it, Jeff? Are you gonna frame it or anything? Like, what's the go-to approach in this scenario?
I was hoping you'd have an answer. That is not my strength. The confetti. Maybe I'll put something. I want to put together something, a background in my office with. I want to get the SI cover. I want to get this. I wasn't able to figure out the Seattle Times thing to Canada, but I want to. There's a couple pictures from the Seahawks playoff run that I can't remember who's selling the pictures. They look awesome. Like the Shaheed return. There's a live shot of that. There's a really good live shot of Nuosu scoring the touchdown. I want to put, because a lot of I talked about this last time I was on with Brian, a lot of the clothes have sold out. And so I think that's where I'm going to trend. I'm going to make an
here's my rec. So I'll tell you how I use confetti from the 2013 Super Bowl in New York. I have a Lombardi trophy replica that I bought that's in a big case, and I put confetti on the shelf that it's on. So that was one way. If you're not going to do something that elaborate, just get a shadow box. You guys know what shadow boxes are? It's a picture frame that has depth to it. So there's a floor.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
Get a shadow box and put it in there. So get a picture or a cover, whatever, framed, a jersey, whatever you want, and then put the confetti in there. I think that's a good look too.
I love that. Yeah, I'm collecting a ton of stuff from after the Super Bowl, little memento stuff. So thank you for doing that. That's really cool.
Yeah, well, honestly, you could also probably sell some of it, man. I mean, there's probably a lot of forfeits out there, so maybe this is not a good idea. But I mean, I've had a lot of people who have heard me talk about having confetti, and they're like, dude, send me, it's like I'm a drug dealer or something. Send me a stash, I will pay you. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm not sending confetti around.
You want to be showing up to your door, Rachel? They're here for confetti.
Yeah, I know.
It's a little baggy.
No.
I just still can't believe that entire season happened.
I know.
Right? I still can't believe it. I'm going to keep saying it because I still can't believe it.
How long has it been? When did they win?
5 weeks ago?
A month ago.
4 weeks ago? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that long ago. And today, March 11th, is the official start of the 2026 season. So now officially, that was last year in the NFL world. And today, as of 1 p.m. Pacific time, the new league year began, which meant that all the teams had to get under the cap that weren't there. That meant that all the restricted free agents had to be tendered who were going to be tendered. It meant that all the deals trades that were supposed to be made are made official. All that shit went on today. And guys, there's a lot to talk about. So I'm going to throw out a couple of random things that happened today, since some folks that have watched the show haven't maybe heard the latest, but then we'll get to probably the main events. So one of them, Jake Bobo, it was reported, I think it was Jeremy Fowler who reported, or maybe it was Adam Schefter, I can't remember which, I think it was Fowler, that the Seahawks were not going to tender Jake Bobo, and he was set to become an unrestricted free agent. That was last week. Today, they tendered him. He was the only restricted free agent that they tendered. And so Jake Bobo, they gave him the right of first refusal tender, which is $3.6 million or so, which means that no team can sign him without giving the Seahawks an opportunity to match their offer. All right. But if the Seahawks don't match the offer, they don't get anything in return. So it's not a second round tender or first round tender. It's just a right of first refusal. So that certainly looks like Jake Bobo is probably coming back unless somebody bowls him over with an offer. But there were other players for the Seahawks that did not receive their tender officially. That would be Cody White, Brandon Peely, and Brady Russell did not receive their tender. So they are now officially unrestricted free agents. I don't think that means they're going anywhere necessarily, but that's the case. Then the other news is that the Seahawks did come to an agreement with Chris Stoll, the long snapper, and AJ Finley, the safety who was injured all last year. They were also restricted free agents, so they never reached unrestricted. They signed Chris Stoll to a 2-year deal. Don't know the details, but those two guys are back. And then the last thing is the Seahawks signed Josh Jones, the swing tackle. Don't know the terms of that deal yet. It's a 1-year deal, but that was something I didn't expect necessarily. So as of now, your Seattle Seahawks have signed exactly 0 external free agents. They're one of only 2 teams in the NFL, Denver Broncos being the other, Evan's other favorite team, who have not signed an external free agent. And let me start with this, guys, because I want to get Evan's opinion here first. I've seen a lot of Seahawks fans when I share that information, they're like, oh, they're like crashing out a little bit. They're like, man, John's got to do something. Why isn't he doing anything? Read it as like the Seahawks won the Super Bowl with the best roster in the NFL and they're keeping it together. So like, what's your reaction when you hear that?
I was reading a lot of the kind of the emotional processing that a lot of people were doing with some of these guys leaving. I'm in a totally different headspace than a lot of people. I love that you mentioned, Jeff, like that iconic Sports Illustrated moment, like that they captured, where Nwosu took it back for the pick six or fumble recovery, whatever it got designated as. I actually was thinking about that moment today, and I was like, you know what? Who are the 3 guys who are forcing the pressure on May and causing that turnover? Because to me, that moment was actually almost like I don't know what the right word is, but like Spoon's in that photo, Nwosu's in that photo, and Jaron Reed's in that photo. All 3 guys are Seahawks. This is not like some major turnover of the roster. Like, I love the graphic that you put somewhere, Brian. I don't remember where I saw it, but the turnover from the 2013 squad was way heavier. Way heavier. They lost a lot of guys. I think it was something like close to 25% of their roster. And, a couple years later, it was completely, completely desolate from the original Super Bowl roster. So I don't see some crazy turnover to be freaking out about here. Like, Reek left for the Eagles. Okay. Like, he got like by the way, we were making fun of over the cap this offseason. They got that contract on the money, by the way. And there's like a tweet with me going back with Jason Fitzgerald on it, because I think he called 1 year $15 million, and I was giving him shit for it. I was like, I think it's going to be close to double, and I look like the idiot now. So
that's true. This is the graphic you're talking about, by the way, comparing the 2013 Super Bowl squad to the 2025 Super Bowl squad. And yeah, you lost way more snaps from that 2013 squad, and they went back to back and almost were a yard away from winning back-to-back titles. And you're talking about there were big names, Golden Tate, and you lost Michael Robinson, and Sidney Rice retired, and Chris Clemens and Clinton McDonald. So like, it wasn't like you didn't lose anybody. And they still almost repeated. So I don't feel like this is some, oh, whoops. I don't know why you just click on something else. Hello, guys.
The only thing I'll say is, I know we may jump around a bit here, that Boye Mafe contract with the Bengals guys.
What about it?
Let me start off by saying I'm happy for Boye Mafe, but holy shit.
I told you.
That is so bad.
Is it? Wait, Jeff, do you think it's bad?
They overpaid, but I don't think it's horrible.
I think it's a massive overpay.
Well, every free agent contract's a massive overpay.
He got way more than I was anticipating, to be honest.
I thought 15 to 17, and he got 20. But
how many years was it again? Was it
3.
2 or 3? Oh.
All right, look at this, guys. This is the edge group, right? And so Boye Mafe, in terms of APY, is below Odafe Owe, above Khalil Mack and Bradley Chubb.
Those 2 contracts were crazy too.
I'm just good for Mafe.
I told you.
I was not that surprised by that number. Like, I mean, I think it was a little higher. Like, I would have guessed like 17 to 18 was probably where I thought it was going to come in.
Sure, and maybe my commentary then is a reflection of the edge, the pass rushing market in general, because that's disgusting. He's an okay rotational edge. What do you have this year? 1-2 sacks.
Yeah.
Like, so Evan, you saw the Jalen Phillips contract though, and you had the proper reaction. You're like, that is outright insane. And what happens is all the people that miss on Jalen Phillips, they have too much cap money and they go to the next edge rusher. That's why I thought Mafe would do really well in this market. The next guys were Odafe Owe, who got $25 million. And one of the teams who had to replace Trey Hendrickson was Boye, and you get caught in a bidding war. And I thought it'd be 15 to 17, like Brian said, but over the cap had them at 11. And I was like, there's no. Yeah. I remember Brady even put out 10 million the morning of. I'm like, Brady, you're way short on that one. And he doubled it. So,
yeah. And I mean, I think he's a guy that could end up being a double-digit sack guy on a regular basis as a featured rusher. I do. I think he's going to be. I think his sweet spot is like 8 to 9 sacks. I think he's probably sits around that range. But I think if he's getting pure pass rush snaps and not being rotated, I don't think it's crazy that he could go 10 plus. You think that's crazy, Evan?
I'm just not super impressed by him. I put a lot of emotional hope into him taking the next step this year, because what we had seen, which year did he have like 10 sacks or something close to it? Was it
23? 23, he had that streak where he had like 7 or 8 sacks in a row. It seemed like that was jump in the corner. And he never got back to that.
I thought he was going to build off that, or I was hoping he would build off that. And he was absent, like just from like a force felt perspective for a lot of this year.
But I agree with that. But why do we feel differently about Derek Hall, who also had like 2 sacks this year?
No, yeah. I feel way differently.
Why?
I feel like he makes an impact as like a power player.
He's way more disruptive.
Yeah.
Like just watching the game. Am I wrong?
I think they're different players. I value Derek Hall more, and I think the Seahawks do as well. And if they're both on the open market, I'm curious. I don't know if the league would value them as differently as maybe we do.
Well, Mafe does really well on like the spreadsheets. Like the analytics love Boye Mafe. He's very high in pass rush win rate. And so like a lot of the lists that I saw before free agency were like Boye Mafe was like in the top 10 in all these lists. And I've been closer to Evans camp. I'm like, what am I missing here? But they project with him getting a bigger role, maybe on probably a significantly worse defense. He might just clean up a lot of just sacks. That's kind of empty calories stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him do that on what should be a pretty bad defense again.
That Bengals defense, it's such a good point, Jeff. Like outside of Trey Hendrickson, who was injured for a lot of last year, like he's better than any other sort of pass rusher they have that I could think of, right? That's not a good thing, by the way.
Speaking of Trey Hendrickson, we'll get back to some of the Seahawks signings in a second. I haven't really had a chance to talk to you guys about the craziness with the Max Crosby thing. And then Trey Hendrickson gets signed today. And then Eric DeCosta for the Ravens does his press conference. And he's like, we were going to sign both of them. And I'm so upset that this didn't work out. And I got to hear you guys. Sorry, I clearly got an opinion on this. But I will tell you one thing. And I think I texted you guys about this. I turned on NFL Network to eat some lunch and watch this. And I saw Ian Rappaport, who I think does a good job, try to talk about this in real time, like as the press conference is just wrapped up. And it was almost like without being fed talking points by the GMs and the agents and the coaches, like that he doesn't know what to say. Like it was not a very good analysis of what we had just heard. And I don't know, man. You get the feeling that a lot of reporters are getting fed what they're supposed to say about this situation, and I'm kind of curious to see where this all, where this shakes out. But Jeff, what was your reaction?
There's a lot of people who are just taking these insiders at face value, and I try to tweet out as much as I can, just like maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, or I think all this stuff gets out there for a reason. There's a lot of people holding the water for this team right now in the Ravens. And I think you see like Diana Rossini's opinion seems to change every 5 minutes. And Ian Rappaport, like you said, it's basically like a parrot at this point. Like they're basically feeding him. He just repeats what they say. Schefter's changed tune immediately. I believe it's pretty clear what happened with the Ravens, where they got cold feet. Trey Hendrickson made it through the market. They figured, okay, would you rather have Max Crosby or Trey Hendrickson and keep your first round picks? The story, them signing Trey Hendrickson this morning, just to me made it so obvious. And I'm not buying this whole, we wanted Crosby and Trey Hendrickson. There's a lot of PR work, I think, that's been done in the last 24 hours. There's a lot of people who are covering up their team doctors. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I think they got, Brian, you talked about it. They've never made a trade of that capacity before, giving up a first round pick for a player. Trey Hendrickson was not supposed to make it to day 3. He was supposed to be an hour 1 free agent. I think if he signs hour 1, there's no way they back out of this trade.
I see it the same way, Evan. I want to know what you think about what's going on. And then specifically, I want to know your take on trading for Max Crosby.
Well, let me come out and just say the obvious. I love NFL drama that does not involve my football team, because I have been thriving over the past 24 hours. I've been eating this shit up. Like I love this. I was going through the Raiders subreddit, and just to be clear, like I'm kind of in your guys' camp. I will say this. Is it really inconceivable though that like the scans they did on his knee when he got to Baltimore in the facility or with the doctors or whatever, could it have been worse though than what the Raiders were letting on? Is that an impossible scenario?
I don't think it's impossible. And I think the most credible aspect of that, Jane Slater, I think, tweeted this out, that she and I think maybe Garofolo or someone, whatever, that their information was that they actually were considering trying to go back to the Raiders to renegotiate the deal for a lower compensation until they got additional information, and they just decided to scuttle the whole thing. Okay. That to me could be like excellent PR spin and work. I think that's totally possible. It also, like, they're doing a pretty good job of putting some plausible situations out there of, yeah, maybe they felt, I think this all gets back to, there was a bar that if they were trading a 4th round pick, I think he cleared it.
Sure.
If they were trading 1 first round pick, he might have cleared it. But 2 first round picks, including a top 15 first round pick, I think that they were like, he has to be pristine. And I think this was never going to happen.
I think that's reasonable. I will say this. I've been reading comments from Raiders fans being like, the Ravens are a freaking garbage organization, which I have no dog in this fight. But okay, guys, you've had like 2 winning seasons in my entire lifetime. And I'm like 8 years away from 40. So like, let's cool your jets, Raiders. And by the way, I haven't seen this mentioned. Let's not forget this. Rewind to 2014. Roger Saffold, ring a bell? You guys remember that situation? I think he was a guard for the Rams, right? Who was leaving in free agency. He had signed a deal with the Raiders, a big deal that I think they got immediately hammered for and criticized in the media for. And they did almost the exact same thing. Maybe it was a trade. I don't remember. But like they did almost the exact same thing. and he returned to the Rams. So the Raiders are not like totally blameless in a situation like this, is what I'll say. But I mean, I'm eating. I love this drama. I love NFL drama. This is amazing.
No, I don't think anyone associates the Raiders with morality, based on their history and things they've done over the years, the players they used to take during Al Davis. So if you're on your high horse from the Raiders, like the reason it doesn't pass the smell test for me is the Ravens have done this before. And Will Compton put out that really cool video last night where the time they did do this, it was a former teammate of his, is where an opportunistic scenario came up where a player slipped through the cracks that they wanted. And it was Michael Crabtree who ended up shitting the bed for them. But they literally pulled the shoot on a big free agent signing in the same fashion. And so, again, the Ravens try to pull off like where this – the Ravens aren't exactly Mr. Morals either. So, again, I don't hold it against them. Like, a lot of the NFL is pretty scummy. Yeah. But for me, it just doesn't pass the smell test. And, again, I'm more of a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe things at face value. I think everything's getting out there for a reason.
Well, but can I ask you guys this, Jeff? Like, I'm seeing a lot of takes of, like, the NFL needs to drop the hammer on the Ravens. And I'm just not – everything's contingent on a physical. It always is. This is a gray area. I really have a hard time seeing the NFL driving some sort of accountability or punishment here. And the second take I'm seeing is this is going to forever change the way the NFL does business with the Ravens. They're never going to trust them again. I feel like that's an overreaction too, though. Are you guys in that same boat? Like, I see these takes flying around, and I'm just like a little.
I mean, what are we talking about? No one's ever going to do business with the Ravens again, and they just signed Trey Hendrickson to a $100 million deal the same freaking day. Like, people are going to take their money, and they'll take their draft picks if they offer things in the future. But I do think that they will. I mean, look. Jeff's kind of made this joke a couple times, and I don't think he's far off. I'm going to be down there in Phoenix with you, Evan, at this league meeting here in a few weeks. All of the coaches, GMs are there. They sit at tables and they get interviewed. I am curious how the interactions will be between Eric DaCosta and John Spytek, because. Yeah, it could get ugly. I mean, there's no doubt that the Raiders have to be furious at the Ravens. Like, no matter what their reasoning is, this is pretty. It's pretty frowned upon in NFL circles for sure.
So, gun to your head right now, does Max Crosby play as a Raider this year?
Well, I've talked about this a lot. I want to know your answer. I'll tell you mine, but I want to know after you and Jeff have shared in.
I do think he gets shipped somewhere. I do. I have a hard time
before the season.
Yeah, I have a hard time seeing them being able to mend the fences on this one. I mean, this guy was on a plane on a podcast saying, Flock Nation, baby. He may retire a Raider one day. But I have a hard time seeing them be able to mend the fences here. Maybe they do. Maybe they shock me. But I mean, he's a very talented player at a very premium position, and maybe if they come down on their comp expectations a little bit, who knows? Maybe he ends up. I mean, it sounds like the Cowboys are out, but there's got to be a team that would take his services, right?
I know one that might take his services.
I hate you. I hate you. Okay. A first.
Yes.
First.
Finish your sentence.
It better not be two firsts. It better not be a first and something else. This guy's like 29 years old with a shredded knee. Okay. Shredded knee. Okay. We need to pump the brakes a little bit on this. We have to be logical. Evan Hill. I'm telling you, you have to be logical, rational, and not get caught up in the emotions of Max Crosby. We cannot overpay for a guy like this. I'm telling you.
Boring. Jeff.
I like to organically win Super Bowls. Sorry that I have Jamal Adams trauma. Sorry that I have Jimmy Graham trauma.
Do you have Leonard Williams trauma? Do you have Ernest Jones trauma? Do you have Rasheed Shaheed trauma?
Oh, did they give up 2 first-round picks for those players?
That is such a bad faith argument. You think that you think that like you only get good players by trading bad picks? Is that your theory here, Evan?
I would rather pay less money for a player than more money and more draft capital.
This is groundbreaking analysis.
I know.
I know it is. John Schneider.
I know. If you're listening, John, be sensible. Be cheap.
Jeff, let's get you in here. What do you think?
Oh my God.
I think he's going to get traded. I think it's just too hard to run the whole thing back and resolve the whole thing. But I imagine the price has to go down. Like, he can't be worth the 2 first-round picks he was worth 2 days ago. The market's changed completely. Half the teams have spent their money. The reason they got up to 2 first-round picks is there's a ton of teams in the market. And now there just isn't there. And I know the Raiders can put out this story like, yeah, we're happy to have him back. It still doesn't really make sense for them to have him. They're a rebuilding team. He's the 29 with knee concerns. And especially in a year where the draft is just like the pick 32 some years is a super valuable asset. This year, it's like you're maybe drafting an edge that's like a dart throw or a number 3 corner who might be the same value as 64. This year, I'm willing to give up the first-round pick, especially for Crosby. But 2 first-rounders definitely would have made me a little uncomfortable.
Okay, now we'll be clear. Let me just say something. If the Rams or Niners are involved, my answer changes.
Doesn't seem like it. I think they're both capped out.
Yeah, but those little
I know, you always think
both those cities.
The Rams have to sign the entire – their 2023 class is really good. They got to sign a lot of guys. Mm-hmm. It's Kobe Turner and Puka and all those guys they hit. And San Francisco got Mike Evans and made a deal today for a big contract. So they're both pretty tied up.
I need to know the most that you guys would give up for Max Crosby. None of this was like, I would like to trade a 7th round pick in 2028. Like, what was the most you would give up for Max Crosby?
Oh God.
And you can say, I don't want him. That's an okay answer. If like your answer is, I don't want him at any price.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
Any realistic price.
Serious answer.
Serious answer.
Serious answer. 2026 first rounder in Anthony Bradford.
Shut up.
Why the Raiders could use a couple guards?
They need offensive line help. They need a good right guard. Let's help out.
Winning right guard.
How did I know that it was not going to be a serious answer?
He does have a ring. He has a ring. He's a Super Bowl winning right guard.
He is. First round pick. Is that the most you give up?
Plus Anthony Bradford. Yeah.
Come on, man. It's not your real answer.
Brian's like, why'd you bring this guy on? I think it's a first. A first. Jeff, what's your max that you give up for Max Crosby?
I think a 1 this year and a 2 next year.
Oh, yeah. Brother.
Dude, let me tell you, Evan, I ran a poll on my show this morning, and I said, how many of you would give up 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby? And 60% said no. Like, they would not do that. So they were against giving up 2 first. Then I asked the same group of people if you gave up a first and a second, and like 80% said yes.
Oh,
I'm telling you, like, the difference between 2 firsts and a first and a second is not that big.
Can we just trust the process? Can
what does that mean?
Can we
what does that mean?
Trust our general manager who's won 2 Super Bowls in his tenure as a Seattle Seahawk, who's shown the ability to completely rebuild 2 iconically great defenses in NFL history with supernatural identities more than a decade apart? Trust the process. Trust the man. Trust the WWE belt. Is this that crazy of an argument? Like, am I going insane?
No, that is like, I've seen that all over the place. And do you remember the in PCJS we trust that happened back in the 2010 to 2012 run where they had a historically great run up of talent and then won a Super Bowl? And then what happened from 2014 to 2024?
They didn't let Russ coach
the organization.
I've blocked out that part of history in my life.
I don't buy this. I don't buy this that people get to the point where they are unimpeachable, like where you cannot question their decisions or maybe like challenge the process. I don't buy that at all. I don't care what level. Bill Belichick, guy who's like won every Super Bowl you could, looks like a piece of shit now. Like I'm not gonna get goated and never question. That's not how this show works.
No,
that's how a cult works.
To be clear, I'm not that far. It's just I'd rather continue to build organically through the draft. But
you're assuming that the process isn't to go get Crosby, who we already know John Schneider and Mike McDonald tried to get twice already. So you're the one not trusting the process.
He's almost 30 years old. His knee is freaking shredded.
Trust the process, Evan. Trust the process.
His knee is shredded. His knee is shredded. He's going to go to a cold climate in Seattle, and he's going to develop arthritis like me. Okay? Bro, come on. I love you, but come on. This is too much.
Jeff, help me here.
He's an elite player. And
he's almost 30! He's almost 30!
How old was Leonard Williams when they got him?
Did Big Cat have a shredded knee that like totally?
You don't know anything about his knee. He had a meniscus tear.
I saw a report.
Year 3, not year 1 and 2.
I saw a report that 15 doctors, including the doctor of the Dallas Cowboys, looked at his
MRI.
You're
trusting the Dallas Cowboys.
Evan, you're like, this is not flying. You're not alone. You're not alone. So I'm glad you're voicing this, because a lot of people, there are people that feel the way you feel. It's not hanging for me yet, like in terms of the logic of all this. So
okay, so what would you give up? What's your max?
If the Seahawks are able to get their medical cleared, and if, yeah, I mean, that's part of the deal. Like, if they do,
like right now, yeah,
I would give up 2 firsts if that's the price. Because here's the thing, it's about winning Super Bowls. It's not about protecting and taking the lower risk path. Like, I'm not about just like this is the move, the biggest single move you could do to increase your chances of winning another Super Bowl. There's no question. There's not another move you could make. And if that's what it costs, the 32nd pick in a shit draft, and then will almost certainly, even if you don't win the Super Bowl, be a bottom 5 pick in next year's draft. Yeah, I would do that. No one else would, and I get it. But that's where I'm at on it.
They could take 32 this year. They could take 32.
So let's move on, because people have probably heard enough about this for a while. There's other moves that the Seahawks actually have made. They signed Rasheed Shaheed. They signed Josh Jobe. They signed Drake Thomas. We talked about signing Josh Jones. They lost Kenneth Walker. They lost Boye Mafe. They lost Kobe Bryant. They lost Tariq Woolen. What is your general feeling about how free agency has gone for the Seahawks? And Jeff, let's start with you, since Evan and I have been talking too much.
You know, you get me every week, so we got to let Evan in.
It's true. No, it's true. That's part of the thought.
Yeah. Overall, like, I don't really understand where a lot of the consternation has come from. Like, have you not watched John Schneider in free agency for 15 years now? This is very on brand with everything they've done. I feel like every year I put together this list by Wednesday of free agency, the teams who haven't signed outside free agents. And Seattle's on that list almost every year. And so a couple of the names are a little bit different than I would have thought. Like, I thought Shaheed was going to go based on his market. But Brian, when we were on the other day, I kind of threw that out while you were getting your insurance guy. I'm like, maybe they can find a middle ground. I was kind of just reaching at that point. But once the Raiders signed someone else, I did wonder if there was a middle ground, and he got it. And Kobe Bryant was the guy. We all saw that Instagram thing Sunday night. I probably would have thought that Kobe would be in the group, but I put out a tweet, I think either Sunday or Monday, saying, here are the names I think are going to go. And here are the names I think were likely to stay. And I was basically flipped Job and Bryant, but it's pretty much on brand. Like a lot of people were freaking out about Reek yesterday. I didn't see any scenario where they were going to re-sign Reek. I don't even know if Reek got down to $6 million if they would have signed him. Probably might have at that point, but I think all the tea leaves were there. He was going to go. Boye, I thought was going to go. Shaheed, the situation, Buffalo, the Vegas, they ended up signing other receivers, fell back in their lap, and Job was the guy it seemed hypothetically they were going to prioritize. So pretty much it's almost exactly what I thought. I know it's a little boring. The running back position's been frustrating.
We talked about it. It's going to be boring.
We talked about it last Saturday. This is going to be it's a boring free agent class in general. Like you look at everyone's gone already. Like I put out a tweet this afternoon, like Nick Cross is left. And literally 30 seconds later, Nick Cross signed. And I was like, oh, there's no one left on my list at this point. And John, look at Green Bay, what they do every year. That's where John was trained. We met his boss at the combine. And like they do the same thing. They sit back, they wait, and there's just not much out there, unfortunately. There's not DeMarcus Lawrence sitting around. Really, Tyler Algier is the only free agent I have remorse over in the whole market. And the running back thing's been a little head scratching, I'll say that. But a lot of people are like really worked up over Shaheed's price. I think that's misguided. I think the new market, you saw Romeo Doubs make $20 million a year. The cap's $300 million now. Like, would you really be that much happier if Shaheed was at $13 million versus $17 million? What would he have done with this extra $4 million? They can't even spend the $45 million they have now. So this market's shit. Cooper Kupp's coming off next year. People get like principled over values, and it's kind of a waste of time. It's a waste of effort. The cost of doing business in day one of free agency is a tax, and the guy won the Super Bowl. So pretty much how I thought, other than maybe a running back signing by now.
Evan, where are you? Where are you? Like, did you want different things to happen than what have happened, or are you kind of happy?
It's going about what I expected. I am surprised Shaheed returned. I really am. It felt like, based off of what he was posting on social media, I know I'd listened to the John Schneider interview on Dave and the Wyman show or whatever a couple of weeks ago, but let me just put this out there. I think this is a suspicion I have. There's no intel behind this whatsoever. I wouldn't be surprised if Shaheed turned down a little bit more money elsewhere to return to Seattle, honestly. I will say this, like we had the show 2 weeks ago, Brian, and I'm going to stand firm on this and give like a little bit of a counter perspective, but it's not like a really aggressive one. As a receiver, it does make me a little bit uncomfortable with how much they're allocating to the position.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like you said, like Jeff said, this absolutely does not prevent them from competing for a Super Bowl. It's not worth having some big, long argument about. His value is his speed and his special teams impact. That's how I look at him. I don't think the Seahawks win the Super Bowl last year without him, to be quite honest. So yeah. I love the player. I love the person probably even more than the player. It's a little bit more than I'm comfortable with, considering his, what he's done as a receiver to date. But like Jeff brings up, when you think about how Cooper Kupp's not going to be a Seahawk in 2027, this is probably his last year. Working him into the wide receiver 2 spot, it makes a little bit more sense long term. So,
yeah, I think could two players had more misleading social media free agencies than Kobe Bryant and Rasheed Shaheed?
Yeah.
Right? Like Kobe Bryant, literally like the night before the tampering period, posts this picture of John Schneider and him in his Seahawks uniform, and then he's gone. Mm-hmm. And Rasheed Shaheed's like posting these like yearning, like reflective, emotional posts about the Seahawks in the season, and it just looked like a goodbye, and they flop. It was kind of crazy. But Evan, your initial reaction to the deal was different than this a little bit. Like you were like, you did not like the amount of money they spent on him.
Yeah, it's higher than I wanted to be at the position, to be honest with you. It really is. Like I said,
it's not about him, it's about the position in total. Is that what? Okay, yeah. That's different.
Yeah,
Jeff, like I think that makes a little bit of sense, right? I think we've seen where the Seahawks have spent money away from the trenches and how that's gone in past years. They now have JSN, who they're going to have to pay 40 plus million to. They have Cooper Kupp, who's currently getting 15 plus million. You add Rasheed Shaheed at 17 million. And now Jake Bobo, by the way, it's not nothing. The 3.5 million for a tender, like it's probably not the contract he'll get, but that's a lot of
Probably
money
their
to
fifth receiver. Yeah. No. My first thought was, wow, that's a lot of money at the receiver position. But when I looked at it, it's like it's a luxury for 1 year. They're in a situation where they do have a pool of cap room where there's no real use for, and they can afford it.
Mm-hmm.
The question maybe is like, well, maybe you should have signed Walker as well. I think you could have signed Walker and Shaheed and maybe moved off Kupp. That's a cool question I think you could have. But the way Kupp's contract works, I haven't said. Like there's a lot of people who think he shouldn't be back this year. I find it very hard to believe he'll be back at the contract number he has next year. And Shaheed's contract is a low cap hit, I think 9 million year one, and it jumps to I think 19 next year. So when Kupp comes off, it almost matches perfectly. But yeah, I think the idea of putting money at receiver, that was one of the things we're all excited about. One of the reasons why I didn't necessarily want to sign Kobe Bryant, because I didn't want to put more money at safety when we just moved away from that. We want the money in the trenches. And unfortunately, this was not the great free agent class to sign defensive ends. But from a roster building standpoint, yeah, I'm all day. Don't spend money on receiver. We just literally got off the DK Metcalf contract. And look what that's done to the Steelers.
I will say this, though. When it comes to, like, if you just had to say, Evan, pick one between what Shaheed got and what K9 got, it's Shaheed. Like, without
Why?
question. I don't trust K9's ability to stay healthy. I just don't. Like, I think Shaheed's impact is multifaceted. Like his special teams impact is just rare. Like every time he touches the football, it could be a home run. And defenses and units have to account for that. And it flips game scripts. Like I know I mentioned it 2 weeks ago, but I go back to this moment, down by 14 points, top of the fourth quarter, Thursday Night Football against the Rams. Shaheed returns that and totally flips the momentum of the game. The Seahawks end up winning that game in overtime, take the number 1 seed at that spot, finish out the season with the 1 seed. I kind of look back to that moment.
Yeah. There's no question about that. And I think one of the best parts of the Rasheed Shaheed and the Josh Jobe signing is I literally have tweets from Rams creators the day before, like, this guy's about to be a Ram, about Josh Jobe, about Rasheed Shaheed. You got 49ers fans that want, like, a lot of people wanted Rasheed Shaheed, and he's the Seahawks, which I think is great. And the other thing I'll say is receiver, like, one of the things I just question is every single year it seems like a good receiver draft. So supply of good receivers is at feeling like an all-time high. To me, if you're really thinking about how you spend your roster dollars, that's probably not a position where you need to spend top dollar. Like you can go and get, now you're not going to get a JSN every time or a Rasheed Shaheed, but you can go and get a Torrey Horton in the 5th round like you did last year and like add more to it. So anyway, that's my quick thought there. Jeff, look like you were going to say something.
No, I'm mostly with you. Like when we talked our plans on Saturday, like that was my plan. Just draft a receiver, don't sign anyone free agency. And I think the Shaheed thing kind of fell. I think the Seahawks and Shaheed expected to leave, and I think the Raiders signing someone else. I don't know what happened there. That opened the door, really, because Buffalo made the DJ Moore trade, and those were his 2 priority destinations.
Yeah, I just love that Rams fans actually really wanted Rasheed.
I know.
And didn't get him because he would be scary as hell on that team, and I want no part of that.
Yeah. All right, let's do some Patreon questions. These are, some of them are a little bit older, but they still are relevant. Okay, so let's see. Okay, this is from Aaron J. Jeff, I'm going to give this one to you. Just a hypothetical question he's been wondering about. What would have happened for the Seahawks if Sam Darnold remained on the Vikings? Geno is gone. What does John Schneider do at QB? What would that scenario have looked like?
this is a horrible scenario because it's been out there. Aaron Rodgers would have been the quarterback. And it would have made I don't think they would have won the Super Bowl because the whole thing about their vibes and the love, and he's just he's not even that good anymore, but the whole thing could have blown up. Like that could have been the thing that got John fired, like the new owners coming in, like his whole career might have changed. So like to what you were saying, Brian, earlier, John is not infallible. There's a lot of luck that happened. And if the Vikings, the butterfly effect is if the Vikings don't do that move, I think Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. They probably win 10 games last year to lose in the playoffs. And this whole thing is like, where do they go from here? And they're pretty much Pittsburgh. And how shitty is that situation right now?
Wait, who's Pittsburgh's quarterback right now?
Nobody, because they're waiting to hear from Aaron Rodgers again.
If Kyler signs with the Vikings, which he's all indications are he's going to, that leaves no one. The whole market's cleaned out. Gino's even gone.
Hey, at least they're not Falcons fans pushing for Tua, making a strong push for Tua.
They are the most depressing. Evan, you had a good line on them the other day.
This is for you, Evan. This is from Braxton. With the Trent McDuffie trade to the Rams happening, it sparked some discussion. If the Rams don't trade out of pick 26 last draft and instead draft Nick Emanwari, does this Rams team beat the Seahawks in the NFC Championship? So they traded that pick for a first-round pick this year that turned into, I think, that turned into the pick they still have, but they traded their other pick for Trent McDuffie. Question here is if they had kept that pick and drafted Nick Emanwari, is that enough to have made the Seahawks worse and the Rams better enough to tilt the scales?
I do think Mike McDonald's defense is not as good as it was this year without him. So maybe.
Jeff, you look like you were dying to say something.
I don't think it's close. I think that really would have swung things.
Yeah.
Even Wari looks like a blue chip player. I know there's people who doubt that, but that swing in terms of what they got from Terrence Ferguson and the Seahawks, what they would have got there, which we saw like they got from Elijah Arroyo, for example, which was not much this year. I think that the margin was so tight. That fourth down stop basically won the game. And Emanwari was their best defender in that game. You take him out of there, you put like run-of-the-mill nickel corner. Frankly, I think it would really. I think the domino effect would be huge. That gave something, especially like what they did to Shanahan. That unlocked the whole defense, and that piece on the Rams with that secondary issue. Oh boy,
he unlocks everything for Mike McDonald's defense, and honestly, he might be the next jersey I get. I love him.
Love it. All right, last patron question here from Sovereign Alex. I'll get this one to you, Jeff. Is there anyone currently on the roster who might be a candidate for a position swap? Mike did it with Kobe from corner to safety, and I wonder if there's young players who he feels can try new roles.
No one defensively jumps to mind. And maybe I don't know. Brian would know the bottom of the roster better. But the only one I might think of is like a Mason Richmond or someone of the offensive linemen. But Kobe was just sort of miscast, and they were already looking at him at safety, but already before Mike had got here, he started off as a nickel corner. I don't know like guys that Brian would see in training camp. I only see the guys I get to see on the field. So I'm gonna have a cop at it. I'm gonna say no. I can't think of anyone.
Nick might be the only guy.
I hope
could play more at safety. I don't think they're going to do that, but they could play more at safety. They could play him a corner, like outside corner, but probably not. All right, we got a couple super chats to blow through. I know Jeff's going to have to jump here in a little bit. Halo Hawk's been a member for 16 months. Says, my girlfriend bought me your book at the Issaquah Barnes & Noble. Well, awesome. I like your girlfriend. I like you. Thank you for doing it. Appreciate it. Will Fries is the running back that takes the first run snap in week 1 currently on the team. Also, do you guys watch Severance or The Pit? Both are great shows. Severance, like, I've tried. I can't, like, I've watched even like a full season. I cannot get into it. It just doesn't grip me.
Really?
The Pit, I really had no interest in watching, but I have to admit I've watched it over my wife's shoulders. and kind of got into it a little bit. That's a pretty good show. I don't think I'd like tune into it, but it's not bad.
Pitt's Apple TV as well, right?
That is HBO.
Apple...
That's HBO. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's take the question here. You both can answer. Is the running back that takes the first run snap in week 1 currently on the team? Evan, do you think?
Probably not. Probably
Jeff?
not.
I'm going to say hard no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think so. Not at least not intentionally. Unless
who's
Zach Charbonnet gets healthy quickly.
Yeah,
who's available
on that theory, but I'm not buying that one.
Who left on the running back market do you guys even want? That's the real question.
Well, I'll share with you guys who's left. And I mean, there's some news here in that Sean Tucker was a guy that we had talked about that would not affect the comp formula, but he was tendered by the Bucks. And Chris Rodriguez was let go by the Commanders. He signed with the Jags for the same freaking deal that Tyler Algier signed, which I cannot believe Algier got that little and Rodriguez got that much. But it's not a long list. I mean, the guy that I like the best on this list remaining is Keaton Mitchell. But he's a young, like, injury-prone guy that might not
pace back, yeah.
Oh my God, this is such a sad list.
Dang it.
Like Rachaad White, if he's the signing, is clearly going to probably be the answer. I'm not a Rachaad White guy. He's super mid and does not excite me in the least. He's like a low-end Charbonnet.
Such a sad list.
It is, and that's where you probably have to draft someone. It's where you find guys, and you can find a.
Dude, if they had signed Algier for $6 million.
Oh well, how did that happen? I still don't get it.
If they end up signing, what's that? He went to Arizona, which is weird. So I got a random question for you guys. So the Cardinals signed a safety. They lost Jalen Thompson. Budda Baker's 30. Any interest in like prying Budda Baker away? Like, how fun would it be to see Budda Baker play safety next to Julian Love in this defense?
He's such a good player. He's everywhere.
He is. It will never happen, but I can dream.
No, I think the money's too much, but I'm so mad they didn't draft him.
Yeah.
I know. Detail Oriented says, Brian, can you guys talk about Jalen Milroe? I've seen a lot of fans suggesting we trade him or convert him to another position. We don't even really know what we have in him yet, do we? I have to say, guys, this kind of sets me off. I don't know why everyone's so eager to trade Jalen Milroe or move him. Like, he was a rookie quarterback who's developing. Give him another year. Like, I don't feel any urgency to do anything with him.
There's conversation about that?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm with Evan on this one. Like, he's a developmental.
I get so many people like, we should include Milroe in a trade for blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
what's the upside? Why would you do that?
I don't know. I don't get it.
Selling something at its lowest value, and he's a developmental quarterback that I know like they don't have a lot of trade chips right now, but you don't just give away the trade chips you have just because you have them.
Right.
I don't know how much value he has.
I am perfectly comfortable with him spending the next 3 years learning behind Sam Darnold. And if he doesn't develop at all, okay.
Yeah.
He's a lottery ticket. That was the point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Kelly Myers joins as a member. Welcome, Kelly. Thanks for joining. OEL, 2 more super chats, actually 3 more, and then we'll get out of here. Is it possible that the failure to sign Kobe Bryant led to the Hawks re-signing Shaheed? Maybe that freed up money. I think we talked about that is feasible. I think it's maybe even likely. Yeah, that's kind of how I read it. Hippopotamus says, Reek called Horton Jerry Rice Jr. Pretty high praise from an athletic freak. Do you think he could be a legit wide receiver 1 sooner than later?
I'm worried about Torrey Horton walking to the bathroom right now.
Yeah,
I'm serious though. Like,
I know you are.
That injury, like, honestly, we didn't really talk about it today. Maybe you've talked about it on other shows, Brian, but like, kind of makes me worry.
I think that's part of why Shaheed was brought back. I think they have to hedge against that a little bit. He hasn't been healthy in 3 years.
Yeah.
The wide receiver 1, no, that's a wild bet. And like we've seen historically with some Seahawks, their player evaluation skills are not exactly like Richard Sherman and KJ Wright. There's an ugly history there, and Reek, I would not say he's like Mr. Football IQ. I'd say I would.
Therill, okay, Jeff, that was funny.
I have many takes on Reek already. So, like, I was already getting in Mina time today talking about Reek, and she didn't understand what I was talking about. I'm not gonna get in here with Reek.
I want to know who is Mr. Football IQ. That is so funny, man. I think Torrey Horton could be very, very good.
Yeah,
I think he's got to be on the field. I'm not as worried about the injury stuff as everybody else.
For 3 first.
But yeah, like let's get him a season before we're talking about wide receiver 1.
I just want to say something real quick on Reek. I am so excited. I'm so excited to watch Eagles fans.
Dude,
root for that player.
Are you more excited about Reek being on the Eagles or Geno Smith being on the Raiders last year?
I mean, Reek made me very angry this year.
You're not alone.
In some very big moments where I was about ready to lose my shit. So, yeah.
All right. Last question here. Do you think this comes from, do you think we should pursue Alvin Kamara, and for how much? I've been pushing this a little bit now that the Saints have made some other moves at running back. They signed Travis Etienne. I think Kamara is going to be available. 30 years old. He was injured a little bit last year. I'm fine with him as a bridge guy. Like, I don't think he's the guy he used to be, but I'd be fine with that. Over like Rachaad White. Jeff, you seem so dubious.
Well, it's like I don't like Rachaad White at all. So yeah, anything over Rachaad White. But yeah, I would take Kamara if he's cheap for a year. Like, it's fine. It buys you time. He's been in sort of a version of the offense. I'm not always I don't like getting older running backs. I'd rather draft and just go with those guys. But yeah, if he costs you like a 5th rounder next year or something, yeah, make that move. But it's not something I'm like geared up about.
What would Achane cost?
Oh God,
I think a lot. I think at least a 2nd rounder.
Yeah, they're talking about like a 1st, but like
that came from a very.
It's not just that, Evan.
You got to pay him.
There's no way John Schneider trades a draft pick to then spend more on a running back than he was willing to spend on the Super Bowl MVP without giving up a draft.
Yeah,
pick.
why
would you
So just to be clear, you don't want to trade big draft capital for a star player. Just to be clear, the argument.
Not that
I'm
position.
not interested
in the
in.
trenches?
I'm not interested. If the Seahawks had had a star edge rusher that they let walk in free agency, I would not then say like, oh yeah, go like they could have just signed the guy that they had.
No, totally. So I'm just being an asshole.
I know you are. I know you are. But like, there's 0 sense in the Achane thing for me.
No, totally. I totally agree.
It's
just a fun name.
All right. See you, dude.
All
right. That'll do it. Thanks to everybody for tuning in for another episode of Real Hawk Talk. I'm Brian Nemhauser. That was Jeff Simmons and Evan Hill. Have a great rest of your night.